I'm Kat, an independent midwife from Wales. Welcome to the Mother of All podcasts, where nothing is off the table of discussion. If it leaks, cries, swears, screams, goes up, but doesn't stay up, we're talking about it. It's time to get raw and real. Your no BS guide to pregnancy, preconception, birth, adolescence, wet dreams, wet in the bed, coming home pissed. Who knows? Whatever. We're just going to talk about it. Life in parenting doesn't come with a manual. Well, not a decent one anyway. So let's just create a podcast. Welcome to the Mother of All podcasts. I don't even know where that come from.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's not even in it.
That's good.
Thanks for coming in, ladies. So this episode is all about prenatal anxiety. Not really a thing that's discussed, which is why we're going to talk about it. So this is Christy, this is Claire. I know them. Christy come to my antenatal classes on your second.
Yeah.
That's right. And Claire was a client of mine, and she will say she was the bane of my life for 9 months, but she actually wasn't. I learned so much from you, and that's why you're both here. So, Christy, just introduce yourself.
My name's Christy. I'm 38 and a mother of 2. I have a almost 5-year-old and almost 3-year-old.
And tell me something interesting about yourself that people don't know.
I'm one of 7 siblings.
I didn't know that.
So
there we go.
Yeah.
And what about you?
So I'm Claire. I'm 39, big 40 this year. And I've got 2 children. Little boy who's 3.5.
Who's lush.
Yeah, who Scandi kid,
Yeah.
doesn't look like either of us.
He looks Scandinavian.
And my little girl who is 4 months.
Tell me something interesting about yourself. I know this is going to be so hard for you.
Yeah, it really is. Oh gosh, that makes me sound really boring, doesn't it?
No, you're not boring. This is classic you. You can't even dig deep and find something.
So when I was little, tiny, 3 months old, I had kidney stones and ended up having the first surgery, I think, in the country to shrink the kidney stones, which has now sort of changed all my inside and out. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Why wasn't that the first thing that comes to your mind? Because you just sit there thinking, I'm so boring.
Yeah,
I've got nothing interesting to say about myself.
I don't know.
Anyway, right, let's get going. So, Christy, we met each other at my antenatal class.
Yep.
And it was your second pregnancy.
Yeah.
First in COVID. Is that right? Same for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you come to the antenatal class if you'd already done this before?
I reached out on Facebook and was looking for a pregnancy massage, and you were the first person to
I don't
comment.
even do pregnancy massage.
You messaged me and was like, I'd do it at my hub.
Yeah.
I came along, had Fionn do the massage, and the vibe of the place just sold me. And we didn't get to have antenatal classes on my first. We literally went in blind, as most COVID mums did. So I went home, said to my husband, like, we're doing it. I want to do an antenatal class this time. And he kind of just went, okay. And I booked it anyway. I'd already booked it. So, yeah.
He was a really good participant, though, to be fair.
We both went in completely blind
Yeah.
on my first, and it was hard for both of us, I think.
Yeah. Had you already been diagnosed? So we'll talk about, like, when did you know you had prenatal anxiety? Looking back, do you think you had it on your first?
I'm not sure, because
Okay.
obviously there was a lot of emotion and isolation during my pregnancy. I literally had my 20-week scan before everything had started, coming out about this COVID, coming out about what was going to happen. I was working in a school environment. There's so much conflicting information as to whether I should be, I shouldn't be. And then when they announced national lockdown, that's when I stopped working. And I think I was around 23, 24 weeks pregnant then. So obviously I hadn't booked any antenatal classes or anything like that, because you're always told in the hospital to wait until you're like 28 weeks. And then obviously that all shut down anyway. So I did some like last minute kind of anxious prep as to what am I going to do. I was already going to pregnancy yoga, so I carried on with that online. And then I found I think it's the Positive Birthing Company,
Yes,
the hypnobirthing.
brilliant. They are fantastic.
Because I already knew going into it I didn't want a medicated birth, so I wanted to do everything that I could to avoid any medical intervention. So I downloaded that, tried to get Ave on board, but just wasn't. It's not the same as an in-person, getting him to sit down and watch videos of somebody telling you what's going to happen and what to do. So I did that pretty much solo, apart from the videos I made him watch. And I just don't think it sank in for either of us what was actually going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe, there was some sort of
Levels
anxiety
of
there, but it
anxiety.
just wasn't, it just wasn't really talked about. There was nothing to do, was there? You just literally stayed at home. And
it was your own whirling thoughts.
at one point I was told not even to go shopping, and if I had a garden to walk up and down that. So it was, very isolating, very, very scary.
I would say there was a lot of prenatal, being a midwife on community then, obviously, there was a lot of prenatal anxiety around COVID that went undiagnosed. And it was you that said it was masked as postnatal depression. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, what a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
So in your postpartum period, after you've had your first, would you say you had postnatal depression?
Probably, because again, it was still quite isolating. You couldn't always go out. It was constantly being, yes, you can do this, yes, you can go to a baby class, and then it was, no, you can't, and it was a lot of to and fro in. Obviously, family didn't have the same involvement. When you could bubble then, not long after she was born, we bubbled with my family because they're huge. And my mum's house became sort of like my base of sanctuary.
Yeah.
Because it was the one place I knew I could go and I wasn't restricted on going. Then we finally found the first baby class, and I think our group of mums all say we kind of just grabbed onto each other because it was the first point for some of them. They had babies sort of like the April, May, so for some of them they had literally no contact with any other humans because it was the height of the lockdown. And we're still all good friends now 5 years later.
That's
a
a village.
bubble. Yeah.
That everyone needs, really.
Yeah.
So you got pregnant the second time.
Yep.
When did you start thinking, I've got some issues here?
So my daughter was around 15, 16 months old. She wasn't sleeping, still breastfeeding. We were waking every 2 hours. I had gone back to work full time. I worked in a school that I didn't know, found out later was a trigger for me because I really didn't enjoy where I was. So I was sleep deprived, working back full time because I knew I wanted another one quite soon. So I would have to obviously work full time hours to get full time mat pay. And then, I remember sitting in, my husband's got like this office room, he's got a sofa bed, and I broke down. I was like, I'm not doing co-sleeping anymore. I'm not feeding her. We're going to be in separate rooms. You're going to deal with it for the next however many weeks until she sleeps. It's so not me.
Wow.
But I just felt like the pressure. I was so tired. I was like bone tired. And I remember sitting on his like sofa bed. We'd ordered a KFC. It was like 10:30 at night, and I just sat there like, I'm either really, really tired, or I've got postnatal depression, or I'm pregnant. And we joked about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, go get a test then. So I did the next day, and then found out I was pregnant and cried. I was like, I'm pregnant. So like we kind of knew then what, I was probably emotional and overly tired because I was pregnant. But then that didn't go away.
Interesting.
So kept doing the mundane, going into work, dropping my daughter off, figuring out the childcare. She thankfully started sleeping through because we'd stopped like all the night feeds and stuff. And we had a happier relationship between me and her then because I didn't feel so pressured. But I still was not happy, and I still had this like, I can't really describe it. I didn't feel pregnant on him, like on every single horrible symptom you can get I had on my first. I did not enjoy her pregnancy as well as COVID. But I had absolutely no indicators that I was pregnant. I didn't have the sore boobs. I didn't have the like tiredness. I didn't have any of the feelings. I just...
Were you questioning whether you were even pregnant?
I questioned whether I had a phantom pregnancy.
Yeah.
And until they showed me on the scan, I still didn't believe it, and they had to take my blood pressure twice because they were like, you need to calm down because like your blood pressure's sky high, we can't let you out until like you calm down. And it just took me, I think it was about 30 minutes, 45 minutes until they could redo the reading of my blood pressure at that first 12-week scan.
Wow.
And until then, I hadn't. And then, yeah, like I said, it just didn't go away.
Did it get worse?
Yeah.
Did you medicate?
No.
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 What was your coping mechanisms?
So I started getting breathless in work, and people were noticing, and they were like, "Oh, it's just because you're pregnant."
No, it's a panic attack. You fucking knob.
Yeah,
Not you. Not
I
you.
didn't know.
The people you worked for.
But I kept getting breathless, and like my family were concerned, and my mum literally said to me, something happened in work, which was a trigger of it anyway.
Listen to her.
And she just said, why don't you go to the doctors? Like, the breathlessness is not normal. You can't walk from my front gate to my door without getting really breathless. So I went to the doctors and talked to them. They referred me for like ECG and all of that, and I was still getting it. And they were like, there's nothing coming up on your test. There's no like screening.
Did anyone indicate at any point, actually, this might be an anxiety issue?
No, not even my midwife. When I spoke to her, I expressed like how I was feeling and everything. And I think it was only after the results of the ECG come back as normal, they were like, maybe this is something a bit more. But I had done my own research at this point, and seen online like about the prenatal depression. Never heard of it. You only ever hear of post.
Yeah. Sorry guys, we've got a baby in the house. That's the noise.
So yeah, I was just like reading off all the symptoms, and I think Eve just looked at me and was like, "That's what's happening. That's why you're getting the breathlessness. That's why, you're not feeling yourself." So yeah, I went to the doctors about that then, because obviously the midwife couldn't do anything, and spoke to the doctors about it, and they just said, "Oh, we'll refer you to the mental health team." That took weeks. At this point, I'd signed myself off work because it was getting worse. The doctor, when I was in the office with him, did my stats and said like I wasn't getting enough, is it blood, oxygen to my blood or something, like come up on the thing. And he could see, obviously, I was just exhausted at that point. And he was like, I'll sign you off. And that helped, like, not having the pressure of going into school, but it was still, like, I was so down. I didn't want to be engaging with anyone. I didn't want to be... I knew I was pregnant, so I had to eat.
Yeah.
So I was eating.
You wouldn't have otherwise.
No. And, like... When the mental health team finally got in touch, they were like, "Oh, we'll put you in touch with the perinatal, but it's a really long waiting list." And I was like, "Great, what do I do in the meantime?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm now, I think I was about 4 or 5 months pregnant at that point, and I'm like, if you're saying how long the waiting list is, I'm gonna have had my baby before you actually address what's going on.
And then you'll say, "I've got baby blues." Whirling.
Yeah. So they were like, "Well, are you any harm to yourself?" And I was like, "No, because I have my daughter who's like, at this point, 1.5. I'm keeping myself going for her and for the fact that I know I'm pregnant. I'm not doing this because I want to do it. I'm, forcing myself to eat. I'm forcing myself to still go to things with her.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be out. I just literally want to, like, be in bed.
I want to be in bed.
Yeah, I want to be in bed. I have no motivation to do anything." And then they said, "Oh, well, we've referred you to the perinatal." Perinatal phoned me and said, "Oh yeah, we've got a really huge waiting list. Like, this is not..." And I broke down. That's when I lost it. And I can't remember if I'd found your classes at that point or if I was afterwards. I can't remember.
It was afterwards, but it wasn't long afterwards because you were telling us about your story.
Yeah. And then, like, digging deep in the perinatal, they literally, the woman, like, when I broke down, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't wait. I need support and I need it now. Was like, "Oh, you're actually going to be mentioned in MDT and I'll see what I can do to, push this forward." I had a phone call back from her that afternoon to say, "Right, your therapy sessions are going to start next week."
Brilliant.
So, but I think if I hadn't pushed and I hadn't broke down and I had, because I wasn't a risk to myself or a risk to her, they would have just left me on the waiting list.
Yeah, you probably still would have been on the waiting list now.
Yeah.
So how did that affect you bonding with your pregnancy in any way? No, because you're a mum and you just put everything onto that.
I literally, if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have coped as well as I did.
Yeah.
Because I tried to keep everything normal for her and for me, and being pregnant. Like, I knew I had to keep going for, I can't remember if we found out if it was a him or a her at that point, but I knew I had to keep going for that baby.
What therapy did you do?
So when I started the perinatal, we had
A big thanks to our sponsor, In-Home Flooring. Elevate your home with their beautiful stair runners. Don't forget to mention Mother of All Podcasts. You'll get 10% off at your home visit. For more info, go to www.inhomeflooring.co.uk.
had like the initial chat and everything, and I think they classed it as CBT. So it was talking about like, you know, going back on past experiences and then come about that it was probably unresolved birth trauma.
Yeah.
From
Classic.
Yeah. So it wasn't actual trauma for her birth. Her birth was perfectly normal. It was more the trauma of the COVID baby and the circumstances around that. And then figured out that the trigger was the 12-week scan.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when I was going into labour with my daughter, obviously it was COVID. Your husband or partner wasn't allowed in until you were shown that you were 5 centimetres. I was giving birth on the MLU, had never been shown. So you'll know Heath department. When you go in through those double doors, on the desk there's the door to the right.
MLU, yeah.
I didn't know that. So the only experience I had of the MLU was when I went for my gestational diabetes test on my daughter, which was to go through the other set of double doors and down a corridor. So I get dropped off at the hospital. Ave and his mum are waiting outside the doors. I contract in that waiting area of the antenatal department. And I'm literally crawling on my hands and knees to get to those other set of double doors because I was not aware of having that door there to the MLU. Otherwise, I probably would have just like straight to the door. So when I got round to that long corridor then, like buzzing on the intercom for them to let me in, and this person's like, hello. And I was like, please just let me in, because I had another contraction.
Yeah.
And then obviously going through to the room, and they're like, we've got to examine you. And I was like, please, I need my husband. I have just crawled on my hands and knees to get round here. Because they were confused as to why I was at that door as well. But I was like, I didn't know where else to go.
Yeah, of course.
I've had no tour of the MLU. I've had no indication of where I need to go. I just know I go through these double doors. So yeah, like he was allowed in and everything after that. And like I said, her birth was perfectly normal. There was no trauma surrounding that. I just didn't know what to expect or what I was doing. But on his 12-week scan on my second, COVID was sort of, on the way out.
Yeah.
But there were still the restrictions in place in the antenatal department in the clinic. So I booked myself in at the door, and they said, your partner's still got to wait. So he still had to wait. I'm going to start crying. It still affects me, because I had to
take a breath.
I had to leave him at those doors again. And I had to go through those second set of double doors to get round to where the scanning department is. And I sat there on my own again. And I was still already anxious because I didn't feel like I was pregnant, like I've already said. I didn't know.
You were expecting bad news.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. And it was so stupid. You had to book yourself in, go round to the waiting room, sit on your own before you have the scan. And then when they tell you they're ready to scan you, you've got to go back out those double doors to get your husband again to come through. And I didn't know, but that was my trigger. That was,
Makes so much sense.
That's what led to the prenatal depression, and having the experience I was having in my workplace as well. I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't happy. And then, there was an altercation with a member of staff, and that just it snowballed. That was it. That's where it really become apparent, yeah, that I had the prenatal depression, and then I think I found your antenatal classes, and I've always said for me it was a healing experience. It was very, very, I think I've told you so many times, you saved me and my pregnancy. It was nice to not be alone and to have the antenatal experience that I didn't have on my daughter. And yes, we'd already done it. We knew what we were going into, but it just felt so normal.
You wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
A lot of mums on the back of COVID feel the same. And if a mum contacts me for midwifery care and they've had a baby during COVID, 99% of the time there's some kind of anxiety there.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I just didn't think every time we talk about it, I still get
Yeah.
upset, and I've said to you loads of times I didn't think
Because
it would
that
still
is the
affect me,
trigger,
but it is.
obviously.
Yeah, that was the moment.
Do you feel like, I mean, we always talk about more kids. I'm not going to put you on the spot. Ave will kill me.
You will.
Say, hypothetically,
Yeah.
you get pregnant again.
Yeah.
Would you dread that part of the pregnancy? Or do you think you've parked it?
Because having the birth I envisioned on Ellis and putting the work in,
Yeah.
like I did the antenatal with you, I did the hypnobirthing with Fionn. No, it healed me.
Yeah.
It genuinely did heal me. Having him in my arms and having a normal birth, my sister was able to be there.
Yeah.
She'd always wanted to be my birthing partner after Eve, and obviously couldn't get to do that on my first. No, it genuinely healed me, and it didn't go away, but
Yeah.
it was the moment where I felt like I could breathe.
Yeah. It
I
was
could breathe
closure.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't you not being able to breathe
No.
because you were fucking pregnant. It
Yeah.
was panic attacks
Yeah.
and they just
Yeah.
resolved.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
We'll talk about postnatal in a minute. Claire and your breastfeeding baby.
Stick everything, just stick on the
Just
boob.
breastfeed.
She's quiet.
Brilliant.
She's quiet.
So second time pregnancy, obviously we met. Same as Christy, really. When did you realise that, like during your first pregnancy, could you say during that time, there's actually something wrong with me? Because you'll say yourself, you've always been a bit of an anxious person.
Yeah.
So did you think this must be normal because I'm pregnant, or?
No, so during my first pregnancy, was after COVID, well, towards the end of it, so 2021. And no, I didn't think there was anything at all. I did 2 antenatal classes, did some hypnobirthing. I just remember being quite excited. I did go into the triage up at the Grange for a couple of times for reduced movements because I was anxious about the baby. But I remember I just remember concentrating on the birth, during my pregnancy, and all of my reading and like learning was all up to the birth. I never really thought of what happens when the baby's here.
Yeah.
And I feel like the 2 courses that we did didn't prepare me at all for what it's like having a baby with your first.
It's a shitstorm.
And no one tells you that. So yeah, the first 6 months of Oscar's life, I didn't know what was wrong with me. Everyone kept saying, "Oh, he's such a good baby, he's such a good baby.
That just fucking makes you feel even worse.
You're doing an amazing job, but I couldn't feel that. I couldn't feel, yeah, of course I loved him, but I didn't, I just couldn't, I found myself just not enjoying things. I had this huge guilt of feeling, I felt guilty because I wasn't enjoying things when I should be.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, and it was just, I found that really, really hard. And it wasn't until I got to about 6 months. I was on holiday. So he was 6 months old. I was on holiday with my family, with George. And George said to me, he said, if you're not happy now with all your family around you in this sunny, beautiful place, like what will make you happy? Like, maybe we need to like get some help.
What a man. That's
so I just remember that comment.
Special.
I think it was like 10 o'clock at night. I was probably feeding Oscar, and so as soon as I got home, I booked a doctor's appointment. I did accept some medication and some private therapy, private counselling. But it was diagnosed as postnatal depression.
It was?
Yeah, because of the sadness, because of not being able to enjoy things. They do, there's the 10 questions. How do you feel about...
It's awful. I did that, and I wasn't suicidal, but we did it in work, because obviously we have to use the same tool I talk about in my antenatal classes. And there was about 5 midwives in a row, and we all did it. It's the Edinburgh scale.
Yeah.
And we were all suicidal, like on the tick list, but none of us were. The questions are so
just prescriptive,
basic, and if it's like, do you ever feel low? Everyone fucking feels low. What it should be is, do you feel low most days? Yeah. Anyway, I'm
or if
betting
you've
in.
like have you felt emotional in the past so many days? I'm like, well, yeah, I've got a 6-month-old baby.
Exactly.
Of course I'm gonna feel.
So you start second guessing whether your
Yeah.
feelings, whether you're just being dramatic.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly,
I
yeah.
find with that.
So I only realised it was more, so I started taking the medication, that really, really helped. But I think as it got to like 12 months that he was, I really realised it was more anxiety. And I basically read up on it myself. I didn't take any professional advice, read up on it. And it was that whole trying to control situations, because you're so anxious or so like worried about certain situations that you just try and control everything.
Yeah.
And I remember I would like march him in the pushchair to get him to sleep, because it was
Control.
quarter past 12, he must have a nap at this time, because then he'll wake up at this time, then I'll feed him at this time, then he'll go to bed at this time. And it was just this, I think now, like, how did my head even cope with it? Because it was just
Because
this
you're a mum.
overwhelming like
Yeah.
need to control it all. And it was just that anxiety. And I tried to explain it to people, and I remember sending my mum a couple of links, and she was like, yeah, that sounds like you.
Yeah. What, you
So,
right
yeah.
now, or you as a person in general?
Me as a person in that time.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was one time where I left, we'd all gone out for dinner, and I left the restaurant and just marched him in the pushchair up and down just to get him to sleep. And everyone was like, well, he's not, if he's happy, he's not
He doesn't
tired.
need to sleep.
And I'm like, no, he must sleep now. So I
'Cause
was
it's on the
definitely
clock.
very afraid of that with her. So yeah. So then we weren't sure if we wanted another one, just I think because of what I'd gone through.
Yeah.
So she's looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Talking about you, lovely girl.
Oh, God bless
Oh,
you.
bless.
Oh, God bless you.
So cute.
Yeah, we weren't sure if we wanted another one, just because it had been so like tricky and everything. So Oscar was, I think he was, gosh, I can't remember now, but it was in a couple of years, gosh, I've lost track of my years now, but I got made redundant in the January. So I'd weaned myself off my medication. I was, everything was going really well. And then I got made redundant in the January. So I think Oscar just turned 2 maybe. From a company that I'd loved. Like I'd been back, I'd been back to work a year. Yeah, got made redundant. Loved working for the company, so it was a huge shock. So I ended up back on the medication, and when George and I think back now, it's these big life traumatic events that really trigger.
That rock your controlled world.
That everything's going fine, and then it's like, boom, shit, how do I deal with this? Maybe I shouldn't be reverting to medication, but it helps me. SSRIs are worth their weight in gold in the right. It's a balancer. Yeah.
It's a leveller. Yeah. And I'm a holistic practitioner. But even I can see the benefits when you're at the point of no return. Sometimes you just need... Yeah, I just call them stabilisers.
So that was really tricky, because again, my sort of anxious mind was like, oh, it's me. I'm totally shit at my job. They hate
Good girl
me.
syndrome.
Yeah, I'm not doing, like, I've come back off maternity leave. I'm only doing 3 days. That's why they've got rid of me.
Not worth anything.
Yeah, like I'm just doing... So yeah, of course they'll get rid of me. So I did find another job, started another job in April. George and I were we weren't actively trying, but we were not.
We were not.
Yeah, we were not the old chestnut. And I'd been in that job for 4 weeks and found out I was pregnant. So I was then again like, oh my God, what am I going to do? They're going to think I'm rubbish. Like, how do I even... So it was that time where everyone was going back into the offices as well. So I was, just wearing loads of baggy clothes. And it was at that point I was like, I would like to have an independent midwife.
Yeah.
Because I can't go through again. So postnatally, with Oscar, I didn't have a good experience, and I was like, I'm not having that again. And so, I had to convince George about why to get
always got to convince
midwife.
the man.
And then we met, and I told you kind of I'd also had quite a traumatic birth with Oscar as well. Traumatic breastfeeding, just a whole shit show, like you say, first time around. And yeah, so throughout I knew at the beginning of my pregnancy, I don't think I thought about when I was pregnant with Oscar because I didn't have those anxious feelings, but I just knew towards the end I was going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I just knew I was. And I think I went in for my first reduced movements at 19 weeks.
Yeah, you were on holiday.
I was on holiday.
So reduced movements, guys, are basically when your baby starts moving, you're told that it should have a pattern of movements, which can exacerbate anxiety because not all babies do have a pattern of movements. Their pattern of movements might be they move all the time, and that's a pattern of movements. So for you, it's like there's no pattern. I'm like, that's your pattern of movement. So yeah, you were on holiday and you rang me.
Yeah, and I was like, what do I do? And it's that feeling, every single time it was that feeling, well, probably everything is fine, absolutely fine, but if I don't get it checked out and something happens, I would never ever forgive myself. So I would always tell someone, just go anyway.
Yeah.
And I remember then having everything was fine, but I remember having a conversation with you. I was like, I'm 19 weeks, I can't, how am I going to deal with this for another 21 weeks, potentially? So we then talked about having some more counselling.
Yeah.
I decided not to have any medication at that point. I just managed it with sort of counselling and talking to George. And the biggest thing as well, when I got into that mindset of something's wrong with the baby, was I couldn't concentrate on anything else.
Yeah,
like,
you've got to flee.
I couldn't give my focus to Oscar. I would get impatient and I hated who it turned me into. Like that, it just took over me. So I think I just prepared that, just kind of took each day as it came. But there was one reduced movements where I got up in the morning and that baby hadn't moved, and I phoned you, like I think I messaged you in a panic, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I went into George and I said, I'm going to triage, and he said, yeah, the look on your face. I was just like, yeah, of course, just go. He could just tell by looking at me that I was, and again, everything was fine.
Yeah.
But it was just that overwhelming feeling of, it's that sick feeling, and yeah, you just can't think about anything else, that anxiety.
When after that we had a conversation about, and I remember saying to you, and I'm bringing this up to help people who can't have an independent midwife. I remember saying to you, you know your baby's moving, this is your anxiety taking over, but it still doesn't mean that you shouldn't go and get checked. No. And I think there's an overwhelming fear that if you keep going in, and we talked about this, for altered fetal movements, that you'll end up on a pathway of induction, and you're classed as high risk when they shouldn't be dealing with the baby, it's the mind of the mum. Yeah. And I remember saying to you, I don't give a fuck how many times you go in.
Yeah.
You can still have the birth that you're planning on, which you didn't in the end, you had an even better one.
Yeah.
It's not going to make a jack bit of difference to me. And I think when we had that conversation, it was like, well, if I need to go in every fucking day, I'm going to go in every day. And,
exactly. Yeah.
But it was sheer anxiety and the pressure you were putting on yourself. Yeah. Because being pregnant and carrying a baby is a massive responsibility.
Yeah. It was that. It was like, I am the only person
that can keep this baby alive.
Yeah. At least when she's here, or he, we didn't know.
Yeah, like, you can share the load
and everything. Yeah. So, yeah. And then
why? I mean, I know the answer to this, but if you don't mind sharing, go on. Why did medication not cross your mind when you were pregnant?
That's a good question. I just thought...
Is it because you were pregnant?
No, I don't think so. Well, possibly, because... You're just really tired now. Possibly, because I remember not taking any hay fever medications and struggled really badly with that.
Were you offered it?
I was, but I declined.
Because you were pregnant?
Yeah.
So... I'm just going to quickly mention that they're completely safe for anyone who is on them out there. But every single woman that I look after who's on them, when you do a Google research of antidepressants and pregnancy, it's a blank message of more prone to cardiac anomalies, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
There's never a question or a conversation around, but actually, what if mum really, really needs them? The effect on the mental health is way, because it's such a small risk. And it's only been, don't quote me on this, probably in the last couple of years that GPs don't tell mums to come off them in pregnancy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think actually the reason I didn't take medication was like, do you know what? It's just me. I'm just being stupid. I don't need any help.
Oh, that's
like,
you all over, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'm just like, I can do this time. I can do it differently.
Yeah.
And that was why probably, yeah, it took me a few weeks into being postpartum to accept help again.
Yes. Because for you it did lead into...
It did, yeah, and I thought...
So,
maybe, yeah.
For me, because it's all about me, when, I'll just quickly, Claire planned a hospital birth, and we did the whole meeting the consultant midwife, and we wanted to make sure that all her wishes would be adhered to. We spoke about having a home birth all the time, but it was clear to me that, I mean... I've said this to you, I knew that you wanted one, but it was clear to me there was an unease of having one at home, and it's because of the trauma around your last birth and wanting to be near a hospital, classic reasons why people don't. Thankfully, she went into labour very quickly and had an unplanned home birth, or was it? I had all my kit in the car and we had an amazing birth at home. So in that moment, I never in a million years thought that you would be anxious postnatally, and I learned so much from that, because I thought, well, she's had a healing birth.
Yeah.
One that she never in a million years thought she was capable of, because you won't mind me saying you've got zero confidence. So for me, I was like, basically what you've said, I'd had a healing birth. I didn't think that you would have any kind of issues postnatally, and that's I'm willing to put my hands up and be like, that was really stupid. You know, there's never a singular moment where everything is perfect.
I think George and I spoke about it at length, and we knew what to look for, because it had taken sort of the 6 months with Oscar. We thought we sort of knew those signs, and the birth was just incredible. It was healing, it was amazing. But it got to sort of 2 to 3 weeks. You cannot, until you've been through it, you cannot explain what sleep deprivation feels like, can you? And that didn't help. So I was sort of saying to myself, well, that's going to get better, so then I'll feel better. And what I haven't mentioned, I won't go into detail, but I had some significant breastfeeding challenges with Oscar.
And that was your trigger,
and
postnatally.
And then I had an issue with her, and that was my trigger. And I mean, we can talk about the retreat, or we cannot.
It's your story to tell.
I think it all
came to a head.
It came to a head, and I just kept saying to myself, I'm fine, I'm going to do it differently this time. I'm stronger, I can do it.
But you have, though, by the way.
I know. So you organised the retreat, amazing house, west South Wales. I didn't think about it at all. I just was like, I'm going. It's going to be amazing. It'll be a break, change of scenery. Drove all the way there. Did have an issue with my breast, which was incredibly painful. And I remember just getting there and seeing all these new faces, new diff babies, saw yourself, and I just...
Lost it.
I just broke down. I just couldn't even be in that room. I had to go away.
And me and George were gutted for you.
So emotional.
Yeah.
And it just got so... I just couldn't stay. I just wanted to be at home. I wanted to be with George. And the next day, I booked a doctor's appointment and went, because... Well, in fact, actually, no, I already had them in my cupboard.
Yeah, you did, because we discussed it at week 2.
I'm not taking them. I don't need them. But then, got up the next day. drove all so I must have driven like 6 hours, totally broke the whole, shouldn't be in the car seat for longer than an hour at 3 weeks old, but
You can't
don't
think
care,
straight
yeah.
though, can you? You
No.
don't have a rational thought.
and yeah, just started taking the next day and I've never looked back, really.
Oh,
So yeah.
that's such a positive. It is though, for people who are like, actually, I don't want to go on them, I don't need them. It's like two different worlds.
Yeah.
I remember you coming in your antenatal
Mhm.
period with me, and it was Ave saying, we talked about breastfeeding.
Yeah.
It's a huge trigger.
Yeah.
Saying, you'll love this. He was like, I don't want her to breastfeed.
Yeah. He was
Wow.
adamant.
Wow.
Because you didn't realise how controlling,
Mm-hmm.
literally, it's
Yeah.
like bookends that's why I've put you two together.
Yeah.
It's like you wanted help, you were sleep deprived, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't accept any
Nope.
because only you could do it
Yep.
because you were breastfeeding. It's
Yep.
like when you do that, you put up a barrier against help without you realising that you don't want anyone else to help you because you can do it all, and then that exacerbates. And I was and I said to him, you can't say that because one, she's never in a million years going to agree
yeah.
to it. But for a man, he completely, because all the other men were like, what do you mean you don't want us to breastfeed?
Yeah.
It's easy for us. We can
Yeah.
just get up
Yeah,
and,
no,
go
he
to
was
bed.
adamant second time round that I wasn't going to be breastfeeding because he said, you won't let me help in any other way.
And then,
And this for me is a way I think I can help. And then we come out of the session where they'd explained about like the bottles and the sterilising
Yeah.
and everything else. And he just went, oh no, it's so much easier just to breastfeed. I was like,
Yeah.
see?
yeah,
Like, you can help me in other ways.
Other
and I
ways.
think that's where, the men in the family then, they do feel like emancipated. They don't know
No,
what
it's
to do or how
horrible.
to help. And it's like, well, you could take the pressure off by, just putting the dishes in the dishwasher,
Yeah.
getting a load of washing out. Like, because I
was
still
it, yeah.
have to think about running the house that you don't see and
Yeah.
don't think about. And it's not that he doesn't help.
no,
it's-
he's great.
He just doesn't have that sort of, I don't think any men do.
What do I say?
Yeah.
It's the chimp paradox.
Yeah.
We've got different brains.
Yeah.
You just tell them what you need. And if it pisses you off, Tef,
Yeah.
it's a you problem. If
Yeah.
you want your man to do something, just tell him.
Yeah.
They're not going to say no.
Yeah, and he's always said that.
They might
That's
roll
my
their
worst.
eyes,
That is
but-
my worst trait as well.
Never
is
in
I
a million
don't
years.
say.
Yeah, they're not going to say
Yeah.
no. But if you sit there and be like, in a minute, he's just going to get up and do it. It's just fucking winding yourself
Yeah.
up into a stupor.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress again. Postnatally, second time around, as she's explained, like her
Yeah,
breastfeeding was a trigger. Your experience the first time was exhausting.
yeah.
What was it like postnatally, second time round?
I still had a bit of, I think, anxiety and dips and whatever, but he was much easier. As a newborn, he used to go like 4 or 5 hour stretches.
Yeah.
So I'd get my sleep. My first was sleeping through at that point, so it did feel much easier. Like the juggle of having a newly 2-year-old
Yeah.
and a newborn baby was hard, but I think because we were post-COVID, I had more support. I knew I wasn't isolated at home.
Yes.
I knew I could get out. I knew I could like do the baby classes as normal
Yeah.
this time round. So I did. I made more of an effort to go out and do things. It was then going back to work after him, which again I knew was a huge trigger. Started all again, and I ended up back in the GP, back in with the anxiety, and talking about the possibility of meds. But again, I didn't want to go down that route. It's just never been
A thing
something
for you.
for me.
And that's okay. Yeah.
I knew the CBT helped the first time round, and I've had it previously, trauma with losing my dad and stuff. So I knew it's something that I can rewire. So again, I didn't want meds, and I got put on a group therapy session, and yeah, it all came to head. I quit my job and found a new one, and I've never looked back since.
So are you...
That previous workplace was my trigger as well
Trigger.
as everything else. Yeah.
I've never heard you say that you've never looked back. So
Yeah.
that's so lovely
No,
to
it's
hear.
I knew it was a big trigger,
Yeah.
and this
it always came up in conversation.
always did with us. And yeah, being in my new workplace, I'm me. I'm happier again.
Yeah.
I don't have the pressure of the old place that I did and the toxicity.
Can you, and third kid again, and I promise you I'm not putting pressure because I know what I'm like, but if you did do it all again, what would you change antenatally and what would you change postnatally? Because you've done it twice now, girls. Believe it. Just let that settle. You've like gone through the storm. Well, you're still in the trenches, aren't you? But you've gone through.
I don't think I'd change anything antenatally. I think I'd probably still do an antenatal class.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Just to refresh,
Check back in kind of thing.
Postnatally, just rely and call on all the help you can get.
Yeah.
Because it is hard. Other than that.
Did you the second time around?
Yeah. I was adamant we were having a cleaner and things just to help me cope. Because I literally had a 2-year-old and a newborn at home. So we did things like take the pressure off that way. And I used to ask family and friends for help with my first, take her out for the day or do things. And
did that come naturally, or was it something you had to force yourself to do?
Asking for help, no, I had to force myself because I'm very controlling. I like doing it all myself. I'm a martyr with when it
that's
comes
an
to stuff
S
like
problem,
that.
isn't it? Yeah. Like I'm 49. I've gone through it all and I have been the twat in the kitchen. It's been like, oh, no one does anything around here. And then they do. And then I run around after them doing it my way, which is, what a wanker.
Yeah.
Like, why waste time? So you definitely struggled to ask for help because I remember saying, your mum's gone home. Yeah. And you were like, yeah. She went home and I was like, right, okay. And you have a husband that needs time to himself as well. So I will be really cross with you if you don't phone your mum and ask her to come back because she actually really wanted to.
Yeah. And again, I just felt like...
You failed.
Yeah, by asking for that help. And like, my mum's got her own life. They live in Cheshire, so it's like a bit of a trek as well. But I just thought, no, of course I can do it on my own. I'm just being, why do I need any help? But of course, as soon as I asked her, she's like, yeah, of course I'll come back down. Like, you just call me anytime you need me. I think for me, antenatally, I don't think I'd change anything. I would definitely have an independent midwife again, just for that continuity of care.
I ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, postnatally.
Could you do anything? Because you've done everything. Like, it's not like... It's a hard question to answer because you feel like there is something that you should do differently. Because we are always like, we're growing creatures and we're learning every day. But could you do anything differently?
No, I generally don't think there probably is anything postnatally. Like I think, it was 4 weeks until sort of I accepted some help. And I think maybe it should have done that a bit sooner. I think as well with your second, everyone... And people said this to me as well, like, oh, you've done it before, you know what you're doing. And it's like, that's like the least helpful thing you can ever say. Because
I actually think you forget.
Yeah. Because, of course, you know a little bit of what you're doing and you know about, those regressions and leaps and things like that. But then you've got an older child at home, which also, you want to spend time with, wants your attention.
Yeah.
But I do find it has been much easier second time around just because... she fits in with
life,
whatever. So,
sorry,
I know I'm trying to rock her to sleep now, but that's because I don't want her to be the star of the show. But yeah, she gets up when I've got to get Oscar up. Yeah. She goes to nursery. She'll go and come and sit and watch him swimming. She just has to fit in, and she doesn't have a choice. And she's a more chilled out baby because of that.
Do you know? For me, in your postpartum stage, it was brilliant. Which is why it shocked the life out, and I was annoyed with myself that I didn't. We did have a conversation. I remember me, you, and George having a conversation in one of your visits about week 2, and that's when I was like, just go and get the prescription.
Yeah.
Because he's your person, and he was like. And as you know, me and him agreed on a hell of a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
Like whatever he said, I would say the same, because we're both coming from the same place. We want you to do it different this time. I think what you two did postpartum was perfect. I don't think you could have done anything different. It's just your imbalance is what you need to do to get through. But I'll never forget, I can't remember if she was 4 or 5 days old. It was weigh day. And obviously you'd already got a little routine going because that's what you do. And he was getting Oscar ready. and he come in and you started telling him what to do and where to put things and where things were. I loved it. He said, I don't know if you remember,
No.
he said, I can parent too, but just in a different way. And I was like, oh my God, I've never thought of it like that.
I don't remember that.
And I've openly said I was brought up by a single mum. So, and I genuinely, I don't think I needed a dad. It wasn't like it had a big impact on me. As an adult, looking back, probably did, but whatever. So when me and Nathan got together, it was always going to be a team effort. And I was like, yeah, they're going to be fine. They're a team. He wasn't afraid to say it. And I think that's a biggie for men postnatally. They just feel like they're walking on eggshells, especially when you've got a level of anxiety. Dealing with someone, and in his eyes, and probably Abe's, it's like, oh fuck, we're you again.
That's his. He's absolutely said that. Yeah, he's like, I don't know how to be around you, and I don't want that. And I definitely don't want Oscar to see it, because he had, he didn't have a great upbringing himself. So, yeah.
And we've spoke about changing the cycle and being different for our kids, and Do you feel like you're a new Claire yet?
Yes. Yeah, definitely with her as well. And I think when I was pregnant, we didn't know what we were having, and I was actually quite scared of having a girl.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want her to be like me.
Yeah. And that's...
I'm going to break the cycle.
But in a positive way. Yeah. Just explain what you meant by that, though, because I don't want people... So I hate the fact that you don't think highly of yourself, so I don't want it to come across.
So it's like if I have a girl, what if she's like anxious like me and
good girl syndrome?
Yeah, all that overthinking and tries to push herself too hard. But actually, no. Do you know what? That isn't me, and I am going to break the cycle, and she'll just be her, and she'll be happy, and she'll be amazing, and she'll be like her brother.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
you've done it once.
Yeah,
and that goes back to what you said. You haven't looked back.
Yeah, no.
Would you ever, because of your experiences with anxiety and postnatal triggers and stuff, would it ever put you off having more kids?
No.
I really want to know your answer.
I would give birth again 100 times. I could go through pregnancy again mentally.
It's a biggie, because it was a lot for you.
Yeah, it was just the length of time.
I remember saying to you, you can't. You don't know this, so I'll explain it to you. I think it was the day before you gave birth, actually.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation, and she didn't want to bring up induction because she thought I'd be offended. And I was like, I'm for it. In the right circumstances. There's only so long you can go mentally, and this is what annoys me, is that everyone thinks it's about the baby, that it's a physical thing. You can only go along mentally as much as you can, and you'd reach the point of no return then.
Absolutely.
And you did so well. Pregnancy, that was rough, and I had a front seat, so I can categorically tell you did amazing. I don't think you realise how, from the outside looking in, I was just like, every day, I can't imagine what her brain is like. Just whirling 24/7. I've got to keep this baby alive. Oh, she's not moving, that.
And I think it was George that said to me, and I think you agreed as well, was that after I'd given birth, I actually, even though I was sleep deprived, I'd look 10 years younger.
Oh my God, literally. I didn't recognise her the next day. I was like, Jesus Christ, she looked about 21.
And the tiredness of that anxiety was just unbearable.
Same for you. It's like carrying that around, ages you. So I've got 3 final questions for you. You knew what these were, so I hope you've done your homework. I'm only joking. What is one defining moment in your life? We all have many, but just what's one?
Ellis's birth.
Oh, that's so special.
Yeah, that was... I was
a
thinking
reborn?
about it. Yeah.
Not in a godly way, but a reborn?
No, just having the empowering birth that I wanted, that I didn't feel I had on Era, because there was just so much going on in the world at the time. And I'm sure every mother that has gone through a COVID birth will probably say the same if they have a second.
And it went the way they wanted to.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What about you, Lovely?
So I think it might come as a bit of a surprise, but actually mine was probably, when I think back now, was I actually went and lived in Canada for 6 months.
Why haven't you? My daughter was living in Canada. And why haven't we had this combo?
So I lived in Canada before I met George, so 15 odd years ago. And everyone that knows me will know I'm such a home bird.
Yeah.
And that is like a big thing for me. So I just think back and think, whenever I'm feeling low confidence, I think, Claire,
you did that?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mentioned that on my podcast to Kellen. Yeah.
Like I did that. I lived in another country. I worked. And
Do you know,
it was hard.
you've said 2 interesting things about yourself. Listen to her. She's fussy. Not long,
she's so
sweetheart. What would you say to your younger self?
Just roll with it.
Oh, nice.
That's
not you, though.
No, it's not me. It's not me. No, you know it's not me.
Yeah.
I don't like being put in situations that I don't know what's going to happen. I don't like change to my routine, and I wonder why my daughter is like me.
Yeah.
I just don't cope well with it. I've had a very interesting upbringing. It was very hard and tough at times. Never a good relationship between me and my dad and things. And I just think now, looking back, I want her to have some sort of resilience, because although I was resiliently strong, I didn't cope with it. I just bottled it and bottled it and
High
bottled it.
level anxiety.
Yeah. So it's just roll with it. You know, you'll come out the other side. Things will change. And I never, ever saw that for myself as a teenager.
But do you now?
Never. I kind of do and I kind of don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm my own worst enemy.
Yeah. We all are, though. What about you?
So mine would be try to be more content. So I think throughout my whole life, and even more so since when I met George, I was always like, what's the next thing?
Yeah.
When are we moving in together? When are we buying a house? When are we getting married? When are we having children?
When are we moving?
Yeah. When are we moving now? And do you know what? Like, why did I need to rush everything? Like, I didn't need to. Like, everything happened in its own time. So yeah, just to be more content and be more present, and definitely having kids helps with that massively.
I love that, because it's really, when do we ever just breathe and be like, it's enough? I'm only there now. And my son was talking about on the podcast that he's always chasing for the next thing, and unfortunately it's a trait that he's got from me, and you know what I've been through over the last couple of years, and I'm now just a midwife and a podcaster. I haven't got 3 jobs. It's taken, you'll get there, but what a defining feeling as well, that you just wish you could be. Yeah. Are you content today?
Yeah.
Fab.
Definitely, yeah.
That's all you can do.
Definitely. All you have to do is, look at your children, don't you? And just realise,
And still, though,
he
does. It's not just the baby thing,
No.
Even though they never smell that good.
No.
One book, one quote, podcast or a film that you think everybody should watch or listen to?
I was thinking really hard about this.
If you haven't got one, it's fine.
And I was saying to Ave, like, there's a book I can mention that helped me with the prenatal depression, and it's very, very cringy, but it's all the rage at the moment, and that's the Akatar series. But then thinking back on, like, actual book that stuck with me, I was going through a bit of a rough time in life when I was in college. So I did it all backwards. I didn't go to high school. I didn't get the GCSEs or the A-levels, so I had to go back to education older. And we had to read Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. And I remember reading it and just identifying so much with the character. And yeah, I think like that will be my book and my quote and my everything, because I had to do the assignment on it. And I remember my tutor handing me back with the A+ on it, and I just looked at him and was kind of
wow.
like, really? And he just said, like, you captured everything about how Frank felt and the way he used escapism to escape what he was going through. And I'll never forget, there's a part in the book where he talks about being on a swing, and the swing just, you know, helping to take all those worries away, because at that point he was just focusing on pushing his legs in and out. And that's what I used to do as a kid. The swing was I'd go out on the swings and I'd swing. Yeah, it was my escape. So for me, I think it's that film and that book.
that's that book. That's
Yeah.
you answered that question correct. Do you know when you're
Yeah.
like, should I mention about prenatal anxiety? No, it's something
Yeah.
that's for you.
Yeah.
What about you?
So yeah, I had to think a lot about this. And mine would be a quote, which would be, "Don't judge a book by its cover." Just because I think you, especially in like the mum world and well any person, but you can see somebody walking down the street or even, you know, in a group that you're in, and they appear like they've got it all together and everything, but actually you have no idea what is going on that morning in their life, their backgrounds. And yeah, I just think it's really powerful in that you can see them, but you just have no idea what's going on. So just be kind, basically. To
And
everybody.
sometimes you just saying, hiya, morning.
Treat everyone like you'd expect to be treated yourself.
That's 2 quotes.
Well, yeah, sorry.
I love that. I'll let you have it. Thank you for coming. She's been a gem. Like,
Yeah.
she's part of the reason why you're
miss them
here.
that small.
Oh, well, yeah. You know, going back to that third baby
No.
thing.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone says like, "Oh, your baby's really good," and she is normally very good. She's not.
She's
like,
amazing.
I can't believe she's been. So
Babies aren't good or bad.
No, I know.
They're just sent to try us.
You are.
That's it.
You're gonna like
She's
pass
lush.
out now in the car.
Yeah, you'll have a free day.
I know.
Hello, butterfly. Right, we're done. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.